everybody, how you doing this fine? It's Saturday. I'm doing quite well. I got some new ears. I know y'all are gonna point it out. So yes, I did. Thank you. It's clips. So okay. So this whole Rust trial situation going on, y'all. The trial just started, I think, on what, like Wednesday or Tuesday? I don't know, this week. It just started. And, yeah, also sorry I'm late. Hello to everybody. I was trying to export these videos because the only way that I could find them like full through was like law and crime, and then those videos are like 10 hours long, and it was really taxing my system over here trying to work with that file. All of Hannah's trial. Okay, so Carrie Ann says she watched all of Hannah's trial. Okay. So I was just kind of deciding. I was gonna decide yesterday. I was kind of like, do I really want to get into this? Because I felt like I was already so behind. And then, I was like, "Yeah, well," and then before you know it, the whole thing got dismissed. It's dismissed. So I thought, like, I don't know, I could kinda, like, watch the prosecutor take the stand here. I had originally planned on watching her do it and also, that lead investigator girl, and I do have that video attempting to export right now, like, maybe we can watch that next. But I thought we could just kind of react to it. I do want to just lead by saying this is a reaction. I really don't have a ton of information. I'm not like Carrie. I haven't been watching it like she has. I know a few things. I did make a little bit of a video earlier, a BJ reacts, but because I don't know a lot about this and like, exhibit A, let me go find where Carrie said that look. Exhibit A. Since y'all do know, I thought it could be like, I haven't gone live in a while or whatever. So just kind of like fun, like react, like this isn't going to be that serious type of video. It's not like really investigation, but I thought we could just, get up to speed or whatever. So yeah, I agree, Hillary. Erlinda does seem like a great lawyer with integrity. And I also find her to be so cute. Like, I love her little hair she did and all that. Like, I like her. Is she from Texas? Like, I get this Texas vibe from her. That's what I meant to look up. Ugh, I've been running around. Erlinda. What's her last name? Johnson. Yes. New Mexico. Oh, I knew I was getting like South vibes. I don't know. New Mexico's right next to Texas, right? I don't know. Anyway. Okay. So I also want to talk a little bit about like Brady versus Maryland. I want to talk about a few talking points too, but before we do all that, I'll do that as breaks. Let me pull this up. Also, I feel like this is like one of the risks you take with a live because I'm not able to go back and edit or whatever, but I'm not sure about the audio on this video. Like I told y'all, I really was having a hard time. I was having a hard time with the file. Oh my God. Yes. No, we're going to get into that. So this video is her, I guess, and it's like 30 minutes long. So I don't know. This might have to do it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. I'm afraid of this audio. I'm afraid it's not going to be good audio. Okay, here we go.
We're back on the record.
The report indicated that you wanted me under oath, and I'm happy to do that. Where would you like me?
Well, okay, so just clear, you're a witness, okay? So you can say oath or whatever, but.
So I just again, y'all, I don't want to keep reiterating. This is like a 10.5 hour long video file I was trying to like work with and manipulate, but I just cut it kind of out of place or whatever. And this is the part where, and if anybody narrates a good little comment down there and like what's going on or whatever, I can pin it too, because y'all obviously know more about it than me. It's just a reaction. We're just doing it for fun. But this is where the judge has just now said recently at this moment something along the lines of oh, you're gonna have to do that. Like you're gonna have to testify. You're gonna have to get on the stand. And I'm sure y'all have heard, but it's like highly unusual, or not highly, but it's pretty unusual for a lawyer in a case to be called as a witness, or a judge to be called as a witness, obviously, like we're seeing in the Young Thug trial. But they're kind of like getting in a little bit of a tiff, like the judge and the prosecutor, Morrissey, about what, is really going on and whether this Morrissey is going to put her own self, the prosecutor is going to put her own self on the stand which I think that's where we are.
Are you calling yourself as a witness? Or do you want Mr. Spiro to call you as a witness?
It doesn't matter to me. How do you want to do it?
I don't think it's necessary, frankly, for this evidentiary record for me to call Ms. Morrissey. I know what happened, and the court knows what happened. I don't think that we need anything further.
Okay, do you want to call you?
I don't know what this Spiro, whatever. I'm going to say Spiro. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know. Maybe he's corrupt. I mean, I did see that he's represented Jay-Z a lot. He's represented Meek Mill. You know, I don't know what his deal is. But as a lawyer, as a performer, wow. The parts of this that I did see. So as some of y'all know, I did go to Ivy League law school. And I was definitely not the valedictorian or anything. I wasn't the valedictorian or anything. And I never won a mock trial, you know, and all this at school. But there were kids at school, or people, I should say, we were adults, that went to school with me who were like this type of guy in their performance. It's like a character that you play. And it was like they were like this. And those were the ones that would win the trial, mock trial, moot court, and all that. Like, I can't, it's hard. It's difficult to put it into words and describe exactly. And it's probably would take a long time. But I saw him behind that podium, and I saw the way he was kind of half smirking. And it really came out more with that first one, that girl, the lead investigator, the red hair girl that looks like she's smiling all the time, like the Compra Chico's got a hold of her. And she has a permanent smile, like Man Who Laughs. But it really came out this kind of like mock trial moot court character. And I was like, oh, yes. Oh, my God. I know he went to Ivy League law school. And I typed it in, and sure enough, guess where he went to law school? Harvard Law. So it is this type. I was like, oh, man, he is good. Watches like, he's like, I'm not going to question her. Nope. Case made.
Yourself as a witness? No, well, just a minute. So he's willing, as I understand it, to rest now. Okay? Now, you don't have to say anything under oath if you don't want to.
No, I'm happy to.
Okay, so not only happy to, you know.
One thing I really liked about this judge, I don't know if we're going to get through all this. We just going with it. We've seen how far we get. But one thing I did like about this judge, just from what I was able to see in the last day or two, she's very precise about words. She's saying, okay, it's not really about whether you're happy to do something. The judge is kind of like, because that kind of implies that I'm asking you to do it. She's like, I don't want you to do it. I'm not asking you to do it. I do see, listen, I'll be fair. I do see why this Morrissey was saying I'm happy to, because this judge did say, and I think I might have cut it off, just not at the right place or whatever, but this judge did say something that would lead a reasonable person to believe that the judge wanted to ask her questions. And in a hearing for a Brady violation like this, where there's no jury, it's the judge is the fact finder and the, you know, decider of the outcome and all of that. The judge can ask questions. Oh, okay. The other one just exported. The judge can ask questions. It's not like the other parts of a trial. So maybe the Morrissey person, you know, thought that the judge wanted her to go up there, and she didn't want to make it seem like she was trying to say like, no, I'm not. So maybe that's why she said I'm happy to, but the judge is kind of, if anything, recanting that, or maybe just clarifying that she's not actually requesting that. But I do think the judge did kind of make it appear like that is what she was trying to request earlier, in my opinion.
I don't, it doesn't matter to me whether you call yourself as a witness. It doesn't matter to the defense whether you call yourself as a witness. So if you're calling yourself as a witness, there's no one here that's requiring you to be called as a witness.
The information, everything that happened in this regard, especially as it pertains to me.
Yes, Heidi. Morrissey is this blonde hair lady to the right. And of course, the judge, I don't know her name. It says it right there. Honorable Mary Marlowe something. Yes. And she's the prosecution. Yes.
Needs to come out in the public.
All right. So you're calling yourself as a witness.
And I am, and it was my understanding that the court indicated to me previously that you wanted me to testify. I understand you've now changed your mind. I think it's a good idea if I do it. Where would you like me?
Okay.
Do you want me here at the podium?
No, on the witness.
Okay, sure.
All right, Ms. Morrissey voluntarily calling herself as a witness without any requirement by the court to do so, or Mr. Spiro.
This judge is funny.
asking her to. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Go ahead.
During my investigation of this case and my review of the evidence in this case, I came to understand that there was a large batch of live ammunition that was in the possession of Thel Reed, Hannah Gutierrez's father. I also understood from all of the evidence and testimony that a portion of that batch of ammunition
Not only is the judge baffled, I think like when they're going back and forth, like this guy right here, what's his name? Spyro? How do I make the screen bigger? Here. I think he's baffled.
It doesn't matter. As I understand, we're back on the record.
The court indicated that you wanted me under oath, and I'm happy to do that. Where would you like me?
Well, okay, so just to be clear, you're a witness, okay? So you can say oath or whatever, but are you calling yourself as a witness? Or do you want Mr. Spyro to call you as a witness?
It doesn't matter to me. How do you want to do it?
I don't think it's necessary, frankly, for this.
It's like maybe just not high enough definition, because I was like looking at like on the replays last night, and he's like doing faces like this, like maybe I can just like look it up on YouTube. I don't know.
The court knows what happened. I don't think that we need anything further.
Okay, do you want to call yourself as a witness? No, well, just a minute. So he's willing,
He's like got his eyebrows raised.
as I understand it, to rest now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, you don't have to say anything under oath if you don't want to.
No, I'm happy to.
Okay, so not only happy to,
Yeah, I think it's just not high enough resolution download, but like he's making all these faces that aren't really translating here. Okay, let's see. Where were we?
That there was a large batch of live ammunition that was in the possession of Thel Reed, Hannah Gutierrez's father. I also understood from all of the evidence and testimony that a portion of that batch of ammunition that belonged to Thel Reed.
Okay, so she's kind of getting to the like more fine-grained details right now. But what the point of this hearing is like a Brady hearing, and the bottom line is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter any of the stuff that she's saying to the outcome of whether or not this was a Brady violation. What is a Brady violation? Why is it called that? Well, there was this case back in the 60s, Brady versus Maryland, and it was arising out of a situation where a guy whose last name was Brady was prosecuted for the unaliving, I believe, of someone or something, yeah. And like the attempted or the actual, that's what I meant to say. He was prosecuted for the attempted or the actual unaliving of someone. But it was two people that were prosecuted for it, him and somebody else, but they had him as different trials, aka different file numbers, right? It was different separate trials. Well, in one person, one of the defendants in one case kind of admitted to the crime. And when they were trying the second person, the prosecutors, at least somebody knew about something about it, the confession, and they kind of on purpose hid this evidence and didn't give it to the defense. And then there was this big Supreme Court case, and then they end up, deciding, this isn't fair. So I actually have a video that I want to show y'all. I always go back to this video because they just put the Brady case so succinctly, so I want to show it to y'all. But it's not really like, I see a lot of people saying like, I hate whenever lawsuits get dismissed on a technicality. Like, especially because I know a lot of y'all are not sympathetic to what's this guy's name? Alec Baldwin. I'm not particularly either. I mean, the Baldwins freak me out. I think they're half mole rat or something. But I just want to like kind of, I don't know, push a little bit back on this, like, I can't believe this got dismissed over a technicality, because this is why. Hear me out, and then, reserve the right to not change your mind. But It is a technicality insofar as it's a civil procedural. It's a procedural rule. It doesn't have to do with the facts in the case and the facts of the accusation. It hasn't been decided on the quote merits of the facts. But the reason that the technicality, the rule exists is based on the Constitution. And the Constitution isn't a technicality. Now, have cases been decided wrongly based on the Constitution and all of that? I mean, that's a sort of conversation for a different day. But consider it as if you are the defendant. I understand you're not sympathetic to Alec Baldwin, but consider it as if it is you. Or consider it as if it's like most of the people who are defendants in this country. It's usually not some famous rich person, right? It is hard enough to get the evidence already. And then you have people just not bothering to check backroom file cabinets, not bothering to turn things over. And, think of it as if it's not Alec Baldwin. Is it acceptable that somebody brought a box of ammunition to the police or to the prosecutors, to that side, the prosecution side, and said, this is related to the rust unaliving. This is related to the rust unaliving. And that actual evidence, which is conceivably obviously related to this trial, wasn't turned over. What if it was you that was accused of this? Reckless endangerment, manslaughter, and all that. I mean, I actually think it's a pretty good rule, y'all. And yes, it is not equally applied. It is not equally applied. And yes, the only reason, likely the only reason is because he had enough money to pay the manpower, woman power, and everybody else power, AI power, GPT power, and everything else, the money and the resources to allocate to hunting down all of this evidence. So yes, probably if it was somebody without that much money, they might not have been able to find it. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. That's not fair. I agree with y'all. That's not fair. I personally know firsthand how difficult it is to afford legal bills. So it's not fair. But it's also not fair that somebody can bring something up to the police and say, this is in relation to this manslaughter case. And it's sitting in a file cabinet in somebody's back of the shelf. Now, the next question is, why is she on this stand? To defend her actions and herself. She's trying to set the record straight. There's no record to set straight. The case is about to get dismissed. It wouldn't matter if she didn't know. Like, let's say we take her for her word and say she didn't know, no prosecutor knew, nobody on the prosecution side knew, but still those police knew. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Let me show y'all this Brady video. It's like a way more succinct explanation than me.
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for it.
Okay, let's see. Let me do my share screen here. Oh my God, let me skip the ad. Okay. Okay. Nope, not that here. Oh, it's not going to have the volume now, I guess. Cute. Okay, good.
It is a feature of our criminal justice system that each defendant must receive a fair trial. For that to happen, the defendant's attorney must have access to appropriate potential evidence. To ensure this right, the United States Supreme Court has ruled that prosecutors must disclose exculpatory evidence, which means evidence that tends to demonstrate innocence. This rule was announced in the 1963 case Brady versus Maryland.
Okay, so that's the rule, and then I think they're about to tell you what happened in the case.
In that case, John Brady and his companion Charles Boblet were accused of robbing and killing another man. They were arrested, tried separately, and each convicted of murder. To avoid the death penalty, Brady took the stand and admitted to participating in the crime, but claimed that Boblet killed the victim. To support his client's claim, Brady's defense attorney sought to examine all statements that Boblet made to the prosecutor. Although the prosecutor gave the defense attorney...
So y'all see what this AI girl is saying? what had happened? The lawyer was like, okay, turn over all your statement, every statement that he made to me so that I can defend my client. This is what the lawyer said. And here's the prosecutor not going to turn over every statement. Watch this.
Access to these statements, he did not provide him with the one statement dated July 9th, 1958, in which Boblet admitted to having committed the murder. Prior to that time, a defendant's rights were only considered violated when a prosecutor behaved in bad faith by intentionally concealing exculpatory evidence or intentionally allowing false testimony at trial. The court's decision.
Listen to this is very important. This relates directly to this Rust trial. Listen to this part.
Brady altered the criminal procedure landscape. Although the state prosecutor did not conceal the statement of Boblet out of trickery or intent to deceive, the court reasoned that any concealment of exculpatory evidence violated Brady's right to a fair trial and established the rule prosecutors must turn over upon request all
Okay. So in that case, that lawyer wasn't trying to trick him. He wasn't trying to pull the wool over the eyes. It was truly, genuinely just a mistake. It was just an accident. It was just an accident. But even in that case, it doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't say you have the right to a fair trial unless somebody commits an accident and the trial becomes not fair because there's evidence that you didn't do something, which means, you didn't get a fair trial. Your lawyer could have used that. Then they even took it further. They said it wasn't only prosecutors, lawyers acting as prosecutors. It also applies to the investigators from the police department, detectives. If the detectives have something, if the detectives have a piece of evidence that they just accidentally or in good faith don't turn over, maybe they really believe it has nothing to do with this trial. It's just, what? This has nothing to do with that. But it could have been used by the defense to demonstrate innocence or to impeach the credibility of someone, a witness in the trial. Then they didn't have access to everything that was out there. So it doesn't matter whether this prosecutor knew about this evidence or not, because someone on their team knew, and that should have been turned over. And it really is cut and dry. Legally, this could be overturned. Things can be overturned, but this is a 60-year-old precedent, 70-year-old precedent at this point.
Was taken by Thel Reed and Seth Kinney to the 1883 cowboy training camp. When that was over, leftover ammunition was taken back to PDQ. Testing demonstrated that the filming of Rust was in the. I had a conversation with Detective Hancock after that pretrial interview about that.
I'm just trying to fast forward to whenever we have our little mock trial champion over here.
Mr. Teskey say,
asking his questions.
The defense attorney, that's not me, asked him to bring samples of that ammunition. According to Mr. Teskey, he brought the samples of the ammunition, showed them to the defense attorney, and the defense attorney not taking that ammunition from you.
Case.
There was a report. I assume they look like these. And Detective Hancock indicated to me that because he dropped them off and he didn't wait for her, she was then going to try to follow up with him, take a statement from him, so that we could get some idea where they came from, what the relevance was, if there was any relevance at all. And he never returned her phone calls. And that's all of the information that I can give the court, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't like how she's being so it's like she's. If she was behaving in a slightly different way and or using a slightly different tone, I might even be sympathetic to her. I'm sympathetic a little bit to Arlinda Johnson, Esquire, because she said it, I was ready to prosecute him. I thought we had a strong case, but Brady's Brady. I have a duty to the defendant. I have a duty to the people. I have a duty to, you know, all that. And so I have a moral duty as well. And so when I realized it wasn't a fair trial, you know, whatever. And so let's say I didn't like Arlinda Johnson. Let's say I disagreed with how she was prosecuting the case, or she was, you know, her theories or whatever. Once she says that, it's like, yeah, she won me over. Okay, fine. Moving on. It's like sportsmanship. It really is. It's like there's certain rules of engagement and there's rules of the game. And I'm not a big fan. Y'all know, I'm not a big fan of this whole calling somebody your honor and all that. But I am a big fan of when you're in the courtroom, there's one person who gets to kind of keep the decorum and keep it going. And, you know, it's like order. And it's like, at least there's one place where you can predict. Again, it's not that predictable. A lot of times stuff comes out uneven, unequal, but at least, you know, and I feel like this woman has to know, Morrissey, she's in the wrong, you know, like not she, but like the system, the setup, her side, right? Because that is how Brady hearing works. It's like the whole prosecution team is being considered here. It's not just, you know, her. And so the way she's behaving so defensively, like I believe it in my perception and the way I'm just kind of reading it, like my psychic vision, it's giving defensive instead of surprised. And so if she was truly surprised, I mean, think about it. Like you're in trouble with your mom when you're 5 years old or something, or 10 or 15, and you didn't, you know, you really didn't do it versus like, you know, I don't know. It's just giving like she's defending herself instead of, I don't know. And somebody did comment. Yes, somebody did comment. I don't have the comment up right now, but somebody was like, actually, this is, you know, your analysis isn't right. You know, it's wrong because she didn't take the stand to show that she had, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? She didn't take the stand for her mens rea, basically. She didn't take the stand to talk about whether she knew about it or didn't know about it. She took the stand to correct some factual issues that were put on the record. But I mean, I'm not sure that like putting herself under penalty of perjury as a witness was really necessary way to go either. I don't know. Let's see what else she said. Okay, here comes mock trial champion from Harvard University.
May I ask a few questions, Ronna?
And you know what was really giving like that mock trial feel and vibe? First of all, he's young. He's I think he's 8 years older than me, maybe 7 to 9 years older than me. So he's a young guy to be like in this level of pressure, you know, for this height of a trial. Usually y'all know, usually you see a little bit older people. So that stood out. But also as he's asking his questions, you see his eyes darting to two things. And it's like, it is exactly reminding me of, we had this, if this was not a live, I would put in a little picture, but we had this mock trial room in, at my law school, and we would do fake trials in it all the time for classes and stuff. And there would be real judges. And so you would be looking at your jury box, but it's for a grade and, you know, you're nervous, right? And you're like in a real courtroom and you're, and so you would be looking at your juror, or you'd be looking at your witness, and you'd be trying to, and then you'd look at the judge to see if you're doing a good job, or you look at your teacher who's taking the note, and it's like, you're kind of scanning the room because you're new and you're nervous, you know? And so in this situation, what really was giving me like, this is mock trial champion, is because he was doing an excellent job. And he was doing the, you know, the character, but then he would kind of look over, like you'll see his eyes. I don't know. It's like 280 HD, you know, it's not real HD. It's like friggin' grainy, but you'll see if you can see what I mean. It's cute. I think it's endearing. I think it shows me he really cares about what he's doing, and he's not phoning it in, and it matters to him how he looks and if he's getting his points across. So I'm not making fun of him. It reminds me of this very specific like type of person that I have been around. Oops.
He took them over to the,
I lost my spot. I'm never using a big video again.
That because he dropped them off and he didn't wait for her, she was then going to try to follow up with him, take a statement from him, so that we could get some idea where they came from, what the relevance.
if I get bored with this, maybe I'll watch his opening statement, Shauna, because somebody else, or did you say that earlier? Somebody else said that too. No, somebody else earlier was like, I didn't like his opening statement. So maybe if I get bored with this, I can watch that. Who knows? We'll see.
Was if there was any relevance at all. And he never returned.
I'm sorry, y'all. I just lost my spot. Okay, here we go.
At my request, yes.
Case, correct?
Okay, here we go.
May I ask a few questions, Your Honor? When you took over this case, the investigator handling the case, Mr. Schilling, left the case, correct?
At my request, yes.
The paralegal that was handling this case with you left the case, Mr. Tad?
At my request, yes.
Well, the first prosecutor that was working with you on this case, you selected, correct?
I did.
And he resigned too?
I wouldn't say that he resigned, no.
Okay. He didn't stay on the case for the Alec Baldwin trial, correct?
Is this my audio? Do I need to just go watch this crap on YouTube? Or?
No, and he indicated that that was because he represented a labor union that's a national labor union, and he was not expecting the...
Is that coming across as like choppy for y'all?
Trial to be set so quickly. He wasn't expecting it to be set in July. So when he realized that the trial was going to be set in July.
All this, I don't know why she didn't just say he had a schedule conflict. He couldn't. So yeah, he quit, but he had a schedule conflict. Like, I really do think they got me good. Like, they really trained my brain. They really got in there, if you know what I mean. Like, in the law school days, because it's like, every teacher I've ever had would say for trial practice, like, why? Never say more than you need to say. Never. Like, just say, yeah, he did resign. He had a scheduling conflict. He didn't have the time. He didn't have the bandwidth. Something like that. She's talking about labor unions. She got me wanting to go and investigate. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to think about the fact that the person on the other side is like, you know, me, but usually evil. Not usually, but there's a possibility that they could be, right? Like the dog with a bone, like, labor, how do you know about all that business? You know, like it's just open yourself up to even if you have nothing to hide, you have to pay someone to sit there for all those hours. And we have to sit here for all these hours, and we wouldn't have all those extra questions if you just shut up. Like, they got me good. I didn't go into law school thinking that, but they got me good with it.
He was going to be in collective bargaining agreements for his national labor union, and he wasn't going to be able to have enough time.
Erlinda Johnson, the next prosecutor selected, resigned from the case today.
She did.
Ooh, what was that, Lala Intuitive? I'm about to start a list. Because I have a feeling like this is going to come back up with this Gutierrez situation, and I want to be prepped. So what are you saying? Okay, interview. Again, y'all, I am no Baldwin sympathizer, okay? Except that one, Ava Gray's the one that seems to be maybe missing or something. Alec with, is this the infamous interview where she apparently called him a sea sucker, allegedly? I hope we get to that part. We're going to get to that part. Yeah, we will. Okay. With the investigators. It was what? Self-centered, someone said? This is kind of why I wanted to do this live, because I know y'all know everything, you know, collectively.
Based in part on the conduct we're here discussing, correct?
I believe that Ms. Johnson has...
This is what I made my video about earlier today. Hold on. He's going through the list of like everybody that done quit. And the first one quit, and the second one had a schedule conflict with the labor union or whatever they're doing. And now he's saying, okay, but somebody quit this morning, right? And she said, yeah. And then she's about to say like, and then you're gonna hear it, but he's like, and it had something to do with this behavior, right? And she's like, no. And she makes up this like other reason.
Johnson, the next prosecutor selected, resigned from the case today.
She did.
Based in part on the conduct we're here discussing, correct?
I believe that Ms. Johnson Ms. Johnson didn't want my understanding is that she didn't agree with the decision to have a public hearing.
Y'all see how she said that so confident? She didn't agree with the decision to have a public hearing. Like, that's all I need to see to know that people can lie confidently. It's scary.
July 1st in this matter, you served a certificate of compliance with 5501, correct?
I did.
And you've never turned over the report or any of the evidence that we're talking about here at this hearing, correct?
Let's take it one at a time. I did not turn over the report. I didn't have a copy of the report. The rounds that were left at the Sheriff's Department by Troy Teskey, I have absolutely no reason to believe that they are relevant to the incident that took place on the set of Rust. These are rounds that were in the possession of Belle Reed and never left the state of Arizona.
You also did not allow the defense to view that evidence at any point during our request to review evidence in this case?
I had never seen it, and I didn't realize that it wasn't under the same case number because I'm not a law enforcement officer and I don't work.
That could be true. That could be true. And I know a lot of y'all are like, well, why didn't you know? Da, da, da. Y'all know cops don't turn over stuff easily, happily. They don't, they don't. And they're lazy sometimes, not all, hashtag not all cops. But you know how it is, just getting a simple FOIA request. And so I am open to the, possibility she really didn't know there was 2 file numbers. She could have just found out today. Unfortunately for her trying to make her case, it don't matter. It don't matter. Now, is it, a gross miscarriage of justice? Is it a lack of, competence, or is it like negligence on the behalf of the police and, all that? I mean, it could be. I'm not familiar enough with this case. I need to do more research. But it's kind of part of this. Aw, Rabbit, thank you. Somebody gave me these. It's literal clips. It's like, and I was like, oh, I'll wear this for the special Saturday, the Saturday Live. Rabbit, you know a lot more about this case than me. I know you have been following it. I'm just kind of reacting, trying to get up to speed because I have a feeling that this is going to come back up. It's going to come back up around with the Gutierrez. Sorry, my Spanish pronunciation is not good. Rabbit, every time I say now a Spanish last name, like a Spanish like sounding, last name, Latina, I feel like, oh man, Rabbit could probably say this so much better because you like say the right way or whatever. I noticed that again last night. You were talking about this case. Anyway, so I'm just trying to get up to speed, but I'm watching this right here and I'm just talking about, Brady and all that. So that's what's going on in here.
Work at the Sheriff's Department, but you are right.
And you concede that they are Starline brass silver 45, right?
I can. And this is the best.
I got to get down into the oh man, I'm gonna tell y'all why this really interests me too. I got to get down into the sort of nitty gritty. I hate that. I need to I get into the weeds, about what's going on with this ammunition, because a similar thing is going on in my investigation with the Tupac, Biggie, FBI files and all that. I haven't stopped investigating that. It's just so much to get through. I'm also midway through Aaron Carter's autopsy report I got in the mail 2-3 days ago. I've been going through there. Would it surprise you to know? Put a 3-3 in the chat if you didn't know. There was one thing that I found in there that I didn't see reported too widely in the news, and it has to do with, would you be surprised to know, feces in a place where you wouldn't expect it to be. Yep. Again. So yes, I'm doing all that. And in this Biggie and Tupac investigation, we have this same sort of situation going on where the ammunitions and the Second Amendment devices and all of that, they get moved from one place to another place. Now nobody knows where they are. Then, they couldn't find a certain one. It's kind of similar stuff going on. And there's a special certain specific type of ammunition in this case. I think it's the Tupac one, where it's only 2 sellers in the whole United States would have been selling these ammunitions at the time. Only 2 people, 2 different sources it could have been, and it was really rare. And so I was on the Second Amendment device forums. Y'all, there is nowhere I will not go to find what I need to find. And there were people doing all these analyses of this, that, and the other. And so now I'm okay, now I need to feel I need to get into what's actually going on with all the details of these, bullets and things. Oh shoot.
Evidence against Hannah Gutierrez.
Yeah, you've said that a couple of times. Any favorable evidence you understand as a prosecutor has to be turned over to the defense, correct?
I do.
Any evidence that could be used as a defense to potentially be favorable has to be turned over to the defense.
Absolutely.
So the third Hague report that never got turned over to the defense, you understand that that's Brady evidence?
I did, yes.
Okay. And you also failed.
Oh my God. Whew, so much going on. I got to get out of this chat. I can't do two things at once. Put a 1 in the chat if you can't do two things at once. I admit it. It took me a while, but I admit it. No, not in his veins. No, don't start that rumor on Mother Oats. Okay. This right here. Whew, okay. Let me do my one thing at once.
Wasn't under the same case number because I'm not a law enforcement officer and I don't work at the sheriff's department. But you are right.
And you concede that they are Starline brass silver 45, right?
I can. And this is the best evidence against Hannah Gutierrez.
Yeah, you've said that a couple of times. Any favorable evidence you understand as a prosecutor has to be turned over to the defense, correct?
I do.
Any evidence that could be used as a defense to potentially be favorable has to be turned over to the defense.
Absolutely.
So the third Hague report.
Like this right here, does it ever happen, y'all? Is it a spectrum thing? I don't know. Tell me. Is it because I'm an alien? Is it because I'm schizophrenic? I don't know. But sometimes when I'm watching stuff like this, the fourth wall sort of breaks, like the mask sort of slips and I just see two people acting. Like, does that happen to anybody else? Or is it schizophrenia? I don't know. I'm not joking. My grandpa had it. Maybe I'm getting it. But like when I was watching, this is where I started to feel like I'm in the mock trial room. Like it went from being like this big celebrity, like, I don't know, like headline trial to like just two people kind of doing mock trial, like acting. And like, they're both kind of like trying not to break their character, like SNL skit. Yeah, people are saying it happens to them. Yes, it happens to me 100%. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So you know what? If they send us all to hell, at least we have each other, you know? Phoenix said, I don't know, girl. Nope. Never happened to Phoenix. iCat said yes. I mean, it's like in clowns, what's the difference in like this lady sitting right here in a clown, really? I mean, she went to law school because what she's doing is funny.
It never got turned over to the defense. You understand that that's Brady.
Like what?
Sure.
What type of
Over to the defense.
What type of vibe is this? What type of author is this? What's the character profile for what she's doing right now? Somebody put it in there.
I do.
Any evidence that could be used as a defense to potentially be favorable has to be turned over to the defense.
Absolutely.
So the third Hague report that never got turned over to the defense, you understand that that's Brady evidence?
I did, yes.
Okay. And you also failed to turn that over in this case as well, correct?
And let me give you a full answer to your question.
Oh my God, look at me trying to do two things again. I mean, it feels like that sometimes, but apparently that's schizophrenia. Apparently that's something's wrong with me or something. She walks right in there. Brie Larson did nothing to deserve that comparison. Actually, I don't know. She could be bad too, girl. I don't know. I think Spiro was trying to contain himself as he knew he had it. And maybe that's what I was getting, the like, oh, he already knows he won. I like him. I think he's funny. I think he does a good job at play pretending, in this role. Like, this is the type of way you have to be.
Yeah, you've said that a couple of times. Any favorable evidence you understand as a prosecutor has to be turned over to the defense, correct?
I do.
Any evidence that could be used as a defense to potentially be favorable has to be turned over to the defense.
Absolutely.
So the third Hague report.
That part. What is it? Is it she's being mean? Help me out. I'm autistic here. She's being, how would you interpret? Absolutely. It seems like there's some contempt and disgust. It seems like, I don't know, what, mad? Like, what is that? Well, how, somebody who's an occupational therapist, tell me, what is this? Absolutely. Somebody tell me.
Sheriff's Department, but you are right.
And you concede that they are Starline brass silver 45, right?
I can. And this is the best evidence against Hannah Gutierrez.
Yeah, you've said that a couple of times. Any favorable evidence you understand as a prosecutor has to be turned over to the defense, correct?
I do.
Any evidence that could be used as a defense to potentially be favorable has to be turned over to the defense.
Absolutely.
So the third Hague report that never got turned over to the defense, you understand that that's Brady evidence?
I did, yes.
Okay. And you also failed to turn that over in this case as well,
You know what
correct?
I think it is? I have a conspiracy theory. It's not science, okay? It's conspiracy theory. But I think if you frown too much and you don't smile in enough like to balance it out, you get a perma frown, and then it just looks like you're mad. I think that might be what's going on with Morrissey, poor thing.
And let me give you a full answer to your question. When the second Hague report came in, and I provided all of this to the defense, I sent it to the person who is managing the discovery server and asked them to upload it.
That's it, Haley from Toronto. Smug. Thank you. Gonna file that one in there. Thank you. Yes,
it wasn't until I realized during pretrial interviews that it wasn't there.
Oh, eye blocking. Yes, please keep putting the body language analysis in the chat. This is where we do that. I love that. I told y'all this is just gonna be for fun. If you're here trying to just watch this, go watch Law and Crime. There's no me in it. But yes, smug. What eye blocking. Okay. Now I'm smiling. Oh, yes. This is what I was going to say. Y'all know, I did the BAM interview, the most recent one. That one was actually filmed in August of last year. I mean, I did say that in the video, but just to reiterate. But in it, I said, like, the books that I'm reading are just way too weird for YouTube. Like, I can't say them on here. Like, they probably kick me off YouTube or something because they're weird. And it's not like depraved weird. It's just like stuff that's like, get you called crazy, like mad scientist type stuff. But I don't do experiments. I do not. The only thing I sometimes do, I guess you could call like biohacking, which is like I try different things, but it's not weird stuff. And I'm not really a big fan of like electronic stuff, like tracking your heartbeat, tracking your brain. I don't like that stuff. But what I do like is I like to learn about this ancient stuff they used to do. Yeah, psychedelic, whatever, but not really. Like breathing, pranayama, yoga, but like not what you're thinking, stuff like that, and different stuff. But one thing I have picked up is there's a certain like traditions where they do forcibly smile, even if it's not something to like naturally smile about, because of the like properties of like just smiling and like bring it like I don't know, girl. I can make a video on it, but like, yes, there is like, yeah, just like awkwardly smiling. It's like a good way to release like oxytocin or something. I'm not a scientist. Don't stop taking your SSRI, girl. But just things to look into and all that.
That there was a problem with it. So I then attempted to figure out what the problem was, and it was indicated to me that it appeared that the former paralegal who was working for the special prosecutor had removed it. So we then immediately provided it. Then during the pretrial interview of Mr. Hague, it was brought to my attention that the defense did not have the August.
So we have another body language analysis. CMP said, I don't see smugness at all, or this hearing at least. See how it gets confusing out here for people like me that don't really know. I think I've gotten pretty good at pattern recognition now, but it is becoming more and more difficult for me to see what people are intending for me to see that isn't just literally what they're saying, because I just see two people play pretending. Like this guy, you'll see he starts to heat up. Once she starts going on these long-winded bumbling, like I get bored because I don't really know the details too good.
31st report that indicated that the gun functioned fine, perfectly fine, and that was provided immediately. I went back, I checked my email, I could see that I received it from Mr. Hague and failed to forward it on to be uploaded. And I provided it as soon as I was aware.
I do feel like this is kind of giving mansplain. Wait, I'm not saying she's a man. I am aware and believe firmly that this is not a man, this is a woman, but the mansplaining like that, like, oh, you remember that when we all was saying that in 2015? Was it 2016? I don't know. I was so deep in the woo, girl. I was bathed in the waters over there with what they was doing. It was crazy. Ooh, I'm glad that's over. But you know what? I made it out. You live and learn.
That you did not have it.
The fact that nobody at the Hannah Goodyear's retrial.
This is true. I mean, if there is a camera involved, there is some acting involved, because it's like, I think Shauna might have said it. Somebody said it earlier. Everybody that got a job is acting. And acting is like, sometimes they'll call it like code switching, where it's like for certain, the quintessential example is like, if you're on a job interview, you're not going to talk the same as if you're like hanging out at your family's house or talking to your best friend. You have different modes. And there is certainly, especially for actors, I think a natural like mode that comes out when there's these big cameras. And we're not talking about an iPhone camera. Like something does happen in your mind when there's these huge production cameras. Like you feel like you have to act. It's very difficult to not. Like it's difficult to let your guard down even when you know there's somebody with a big camera right there. I personally think, in my delusion, that it has something to do with the observer being observed, like, in the quantum Schrodinger's cat, the particle physics thing, where it's like, a light particle that's observed acts like a wave, but if you don't observe it, then it acts like a particle or whatever. I think there's something to do with like that's a fractal of us, like when we're being watched and the camera watching us is anyway. I'll stop.
Cross-examine Mr. Haig about the report didn't clue you into the fact that nobody had the report?
Actually, it didn't, and I'd like to address that. The reason that it didn't clue me in is because Hannah Gutierrez's defense was that the gun worked perfectly. The defense in Hannah Gutierrez was never interested in any evidence that there was an issue with the gun, because if there was an issue with the gun, it damaged her case. So what you could see, if you watched the trial or saw any of the transcripts, the defense actually brought in their own expert to say that the gun worked perfectly. So they had no interest in that information.
And actually, you elicited testimony from Mr. Haig at that trial that was inconsistent, at least partially inconsistent, as the court's aware, with his third report, correct?
Tell me what you're referring to, and I'll answer your question.
Well, there was a whole hearing about this where you saw this, and you saw me go back and forth with Mr. Haig for 25 minutes. So
I agree, but I need to know what you're talking about for me to answer your question.
Okay, if you can't answer the question, you can't answer the question. I'll move on.
I'm happy to, but
you say that.
Well, she's not happy to. Like, it's a pretty simple question. Why is she acting like she can't answer
Mr.
it?
Haig, at that trial that was inconsistent, at least partially inconsistent, as the court's aware, with his third report, correct?
Tell me what you're referring to, and I'll answer your question.
Well, there was a whole hearing about this where you saw this, and you saw me go back and forth with Mr. Haig for 25 minutes. So
I agree, but I need to know what you're talking about for me to answer your question.
Okay, if you can't answer the question, you can't answer the question. I'll move on.
I'm happy to, but
you say that the extent of the communications you have about the doc report, as you relay it to the court, is that all you said in response was, "Great, do that." That's your testimony?
This is true. This is true. This is giving Steve-O. You remember whenever he was like, and I am thrilled to have Bam on my channel. And it's like, ooh, that's how you act when you thrilled? I don't want to see him mad. Deranged.
yeah, I assumed that it was going to be tied to the same case number. So I said, great, do it, file a report.
No follow-up questions?
No, because I had a picture of the ammunition that didn't match the ammunition from the set of Rust.
No concerns in your mind when you got the case file and you turned it over to us and it wasn't included?
Absolutely not. There's a terabyte of discovery. I didn't know whether this 2-page police report had been provided. And in addition to that, I had no reason to believe, and still have no reason to believe, that those rounds have anything to do with these cases.
As I asked you about Mr. Haig yesterday when Ms. Popple testified, you would agree with me that her testimony under oath was false?
What part of her testimony was false, and I'll answer.
That she said that these rounds don't look anything like the rounds on the set when you elicited that testimony.
I agree with you, and I didn't realize that there were rounds that looked like that.
It's okay. In any event.
See that little, like, that's okay. In any event. Like, it kind of actually, I had a lawyer like this actually, and he's young and he's like a superstar, and it's like, you can just tell, like, some people are just literally made for this exact moment. Like, some people are made for this. Like, this guy, like, he's doing the part. Like, this is what they teach, and he is doing it. Like, that's okay. In any event. Oh, that aggravates. Like, imagine, like, it's like you want to kind of, it's like, I'm not touching you. It's like the professional version of, like, I'm not touching you, but it's like, ooh, he's not wrong. He's winning. And he's just got this, I don't know what it is. It's like a vibe. I don't know.
Have no reason to believe that those rounds have anything to do with these cases.
As I asked you about Mr. Haig yesterday when Ms. Popple testified, you would agree with me that her testimony under oath was false.
What part of her testimony was false? And I'll answer.
That she said that these rounds don't look anything like the rounds on the set when you elicited that.
Oh, this is a good example of how he's looking. Look, he's looking at her. He's looking at the judge. He's looking at her. He's looking at the judge, and he knows he's about to get a little point. What? It's like a spar. It's like sparring.
That those rounds have anything to do with these cases.
As I asked you about Mr. Haig yesterday when Ms. Popple testified, you would agree with me that her testimony under oath was false.
Look, he's looking at the judge. He's kind of got one little half of his face smiling. Oh, here we go.
What part of her testimony was false? And I'll answer.
That she said that these rounds don't look anything like the rounds on the set when you elicited that testimony.
I agree with you, and I didn't realize that there were rounds that looked like that.
It's okay. In any event, when the court, and you never tested those rounds either, correct?
Any of the rounds that came from Mr. Teskey? No, because they came in just a few months ago.
And the court asked you actually one question that I want to address, which is the court said to you, well, what's interesting to me, to be quite honest, is that yesterday you didn't even want to do a written reply. You wanted to just give an oral response. And what you said to the court was, I never saw these, I've never seen these, and I never saw the report. I have absolutely never seen these until this morning. Do you remember saying that to the court?
With regard to the 3 Starline brass, with regard to the 3 cartridges that appeared to be similar to rust, yes.
Well,
I never saw them until today.
Well, but you said also, I never saw the report, right?
I never did.
Right, but don't you think, given your duty of candor to this court, that that's awfully misleading to not tell the court at that point that you knew about this when it occurred long ago?
That I knew about what?
You knew that Mr. Teskey had turned in this evidence, that you knew that the report would have existed because you just told this court that the doc report was okayed by you.
Sure.
This right here, what he's doing, maybe he's right, maybe he's not. I don't have enough knowledge about the details here. I'm just kind of getting through this.
Don't you think it was misleading to this court to not just say at that point, you know, just so you know, I know about this. I knew about this then. I was involved.
I did not intend to mislead the court. My understanding of what was dropped off at the sheriff's department is on this computer screen, and it looks absolutely nothing like the live round.
She's doing it too. She's also doing this act. And from a, y'all hear me out. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling y'all how it is. From a legal lawyer debate, this art form of being in the court and doing the thing, she's not bad at the performance. The thing that's going bad for her is that she's unfortunately got the facts aren't on her side. And so, for that reason, and that is the reason you should lose, or, not prevail. She also appears to perhaps be actually being dishonest or at least misleading. I don't know. I don't want to really speak to that. But she's apparently not a prosecutor for her regular, most of the time job. Apparently she is a defense attorney. And these defense attorneys usually are the ones that are like this guy, right? It's 2 defense attorneys. They both know what they're doing in the defense courtroom. I mean, I don't think she got hired to do this case because they thought she was incompetent. And all that. Yeah, exactly. She volunteered herself. It is Luca. It's the tone of someone asking to speak to your manager. I'm going to only hear her voice as that for the rest of forever. And so she's a special prosecutor, and they do bring in these people that are hard hitter, heavy hitters or whatever, in the industry to come do this. But she's even got, she's doing it too. This is her courtroom act, I think. I think now it's all starting to come together. I think that she's just used to acting like this in court. This is indignation, this absolutely. And y'all know, I'm tired of Hillary Clinton kind of ruined feminism for me, feminism TM. We're gonna have to start calling it something else because the weirdos have showed up and started doing weird stuff. Go see the Gutsy reality show that Hillary Clinton made with her daughter. It was very weird. It was very unsettling and unsightly. I don't really like all that women harder, women blah blah. Like I used to kind of be a lot more into that, but I'm kind of over it. Like I'm sick of it. Like I'm sick of it. All that being said, I will give her a little benefit of the doubt. She's a little older than me. She probably did actually start in the legal profession where it was a little bit like, not as many women or whatever, and you have to make a presence in the courtroom, and I can understand it and all that. But when you get caught like this, you might want to be learning a new code switch, something that looks a little bit more like humility, apology. It might be time to develop a new altar to switch into for whenever you did the Brady violation and you're screaming on the stand.
From the set of rest.
The truth of this matter is you don't like Mr. Baldwin very much, do you?
That is absolutely untrue.
Oh my God, what an insult. She probably wears her shoes in the house. Y'all, I gotta be honest with you. When I was growing up, my dad did not take off his work boots until he was about to go to bed. Like, almost ever. He would go get in the shower. He would, do that. And then there would be no more work boots. But it wasn't like he kept them on. I don't know why. But now my fiance is Indian. And let me tell you, it took me no time at all to come out of that. I cannot wear my shoes in a person's house anymore. It took me no time at all. Some stuff comes real easy. And that one, I'm like, yeah, we should not be wearing shoes inside, actually.
I actually really appreciate Mr. Baldwin's movies. I really appreciated the acting that he did on Saturday Night Live, and I really appreciate his politics.
You told one of the witnesses who disagreed with you during an interview that you thought Mr. Baldwin was a cocksucker.
I do not.
Sorry, I didn't know that was going to be coming out like that. My bad. It's live. I don't know what to do now. Sorry.
I recall saying that. I know that was something that Mr. Baldwin would say on the...
This woman said, I do not recall saying that.
Set of rest. I don't recall saying that.
Do you deny that under oath?
Without having more information...
Oh my God. This is embarrassing. Okay, listen. I don't know about y'all, but sucker is not in my vocabulary. It's not something that's just in the... I guess technically speaking, is it in my vocabulary? Yes. Is it my lexicon? No. Meaning, is it a word that I actually use? No. No. I actually, even if I wasn't on this website right now, like if I'm in mixed company, I'm not saying that word. Okay. So it really wouldn't matter if I was able to recall or not if I had called someone that, because I just confidently know I've never called someone that. Well, maybe I don't know. Never. Maybe I don't know. Who knows what I said when I was 14. But like in a as an adult, in the case of in the context of a whatever in a jury, what was it when they were in deposition? I can't recall. I would need more context to know if I called him a sucker. Ooh, it tells me some things I feel like I needed to know. It tells me some things I feel like I needed to know.
Sucker.
Oh, thank God. Whew, I didn't get it again. I'm rewatching that part.
I do not recall saying that. I know that was something that Mr. Baldwin would say on the set of Rust. I don't recall saying that.
Do you deny that under oath?
Without having more information, I can tell you that I do not recall ever saying that. And if I did say it, I invite you to point it out to me.
You called him an arrogant prick.
She's like, do you have evidence?
To another witness.
To who? To what witness?
I'm asking you, did you call him an arrogant prick during a witness interview?
I don't believe I did. I don't recall.
Do you deny that?
Oh, arrogant prick in the thing, girl. Oh my God, in the witness interview. Kath said she was really biased and angry. She clearly hated him. This was so personal. I would change my identity and move someplace else. Oh my gosh.
Without knowing what you're talking about, all I can tell you is that I can't respond if I don't know what you're talking about.
And you said also to witnesses that you would teach him a lesson.
I never said to witnesses that I would teach him a lesson. Absolutely not. In fact, Mr. Spiro, I want to give a full response to your question. I made every effort in...
So I see a lot of y'all saying this. What's the personal vendetta? Like, I understand her hate. I don't know anything about the background here. What's the personal vendetta? You mean left over from the Gutierrez trial or what? Something else?
In this case, to resolve this case with your client in a very favorable way for him.
All right, I'm going to move to strike this. It's not responsive.
Fine.
It is
Well,
responsive.
I don't want to talk about plea negotiations.
Yeah, and it's not responsive. So I have no further
All right,
questions.
do you have any follow-up testimony? All right.
I want to say I have no recollection of calling him any of those names. I have invited the defendant to tell me what he's talking about.
Prove it.
And he has declined. I want the court to take notice of that.
Thank you. You may step down. All right, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, argument, let's not, 15 minutes aside sufficient?
I don't even think that is necessary, frankly.
Do you want to make argument?
Further argument.
Nope.
All
I
right.
don't think either side needs further argument on this.
Okay, I want to see his opening statement. How long was it? Was it really long? Rust. What's his name? Spiro. I'm looking for the opening statement. Oh, day one, Court TV, live, New Mexico. Oh, cool.
Imagine if you
I hate when I press play and it's screaming. Okay. I don't like sudden loud noises like that. I never called him those names. Oh, y'all, somebody's saying 10 minutes, somebody's saying an hour. Not long. It was, y'all keep going back and forth. Alex is controversial. Yeah, I don't know anything about him other than it looks like he was in mock trial. Looks like he probably won his Harvard University moot court. He does seem to like be pretty good because he gets hired and he at least wins sometimes. Yeah, that sucks, huh? Possibly Trouble said, I believe she thought this trial was going to make her a judge, but it really made the other prosecutor stand out as the hero. Does the lawyer have an Insta? Girl, y'all need to grab a glass of water. The thirst. Okay, where are we at here? Opening statement by Erlinda. Opening. Okay, what's her name? Mary Marlowe Summer. Oh, here, I'll show you what I'm looking at. This is just a little hangout, little Saturday, oh, come on. Hangout. Okay. Opening statement by Alec Spiro. Looks like it's from 47 to... It looked like it's a little bit long. But well, we can start it. Because some people were... There was mixed reviews on that one. People were saying it was really good. Some people were saying it was amateurish and he got off to a rocky start, and people were saying, what's his name? Alec Baldwin gonna lose. So why not just watch it together? If you hadn't seen it before, put a 1 in the chat. We'll see it together. And then if you have seen it before, maybe you could put a 2 in the chat. Put a 3 in the chat if you can't watch shit without captions like me. I say that stuff because I don't know. I think maybe it makes a difference. Like if YouTube, sees people talking and chatting and stuff. So that's why I don't know. That's why put a 4 in the chat if you want to help me get some engagement. I don't know. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, we watching court TV. Opening statement. This is from just 3 days ago. As you can see, today's the July 13th. It was dismissed on the 12th. This is live streamed on the 10th. And here we have our boy, mock trial moot court champion of Harvard University, Alex Spiro. Take it away.
This was an unspeakable tragedy.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin committed no crime. He was an actor acting, playing the role of Harlan Rust. An actor playing a character can act in ways that are lethal, that just aren't lethal on a movie set.
Okay.
These cardinal rules, they're not cardinal rules on a movie set. And I don't have to tell you much more about this because you've all seen gunfights in movies.
Wait, I want to do an act real quick. Hold on. Let me get in character. Where's my, I need my dry erase board. Hold on. I had to start writing things on dry erase boards or else they were going to put me in a conservatorship. Like I was in the movie Memento. Put a 5 in the chat if you know what I mean. Okay. I'm going to take some notes. I do want to like let him get, a minute or two of this out. So I'm going to pretend like I'm, acting. I'm going to be acting. Because I have some thoughts on the things he just said, how I would respond. But I want him to get a minute or two of it out first real quick. Okay. All right, here we go. I went back too far. Now they whispering. Come on.
Of the armorer placing a live bullet into that firearm. You hear the prosecutor.
This is why I stopped doing lives. Hold on. Oh my God. This is and this is what makes it, this is another thing that kind of breaks the wall for me. It's like, oh, what do you do? Touch the screen. Oh, we got to get the tech in here to do the Zoom. Hello, everybody. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Okay. Let me get my notes set up.
The biggest gun as his prop?
Come on. It's like not letting me fast forward. It's aggravating. It's not letting me. Okay. I guess I'm gonna just put it on silent and look at comments because it's not letting me. Let's see. I really asked about Insta because is he a real person? Who? Y'all are too much. We love your lives. Look, now he's got, I feel like I've watched this 4 times. It's all about the big hello. I know. I'm starting my stand-up routine soon. Okay, here he goes. Okay.
But Alec Baldwin committed no crime. He was an actor acting.
Okay.
Playing the role of Harlan Rust. An actor playing a character can act in ways that are lethal, that just aren't lethal on a movie set. These cardinal rules, they're not cardinal rules on a movie set. And I don't have to tell you much more about this because you've all seen gunfights in movies. And the reason that can happen is because safety is ensured before the actor. On this movie set, there were people responsible for ensuring the safety of the set and the firearm.
Okay. I have some thoughts. Okay. First thought, good point. Good point. Good point. Actor is not the same as the person. Agreed. I actually think that was a good analogy with the just look at a movie. They have gunfights. So obviously, they doing it in the movie, not in real life. He said something like this: cardinal rules are not the cardinal rules for an actor. And with that, I could even agree to some extent, but also I must disagree. And I learned this actually from attorney, the one that quit, Erlinda Johnson. She said, there are rules that the Screen Actors Guild does have in place, and they follow just like regular. I mean, if any of y'all are from the South, you might have taken those gun safety courses. Maybe you took them with the 4-H, maybe you took them with the sheriff's department. But there's certain cardinal rules that apply with the safety of these things, and I'm learning from Erlinda Johnson yesterday on Cuomo that they do have rules. The SAG, people, they do have rules. So yeah, maybe it's not all the same exact cardinal rules, but it was also, shown that maybe he was doing things that even as an actor were like above and beyond. But something else does come to my mind, and this concept has been coming up over and over and over for me. And that has to do with the sort of funny we're talking about code switching, but like the what's it called? Method acting is what they call it. And in extreme cases, and we have people that come out and admit they do this, like Jim Carrey, people kind of live as the character for the duration of shooting the movie. And that's for the purpose of just authentically as possible being the character on camera. So they don't want to do a different on camera versus off camera. They don't want to do cut and then now I can switch back into like, whatever, Jim Carrey. Like he would live his whole life as Andy Kaufman or whatever, whenever he was playing that role. It seems like Ariana Grande is also that way. It seems like Penn, what's his name? Her new boyfriend that she's going to steal from his wife probably. Is that way. And there's people that do method acting. And so I'm no Baldwin apologist. I told y'all I think that they're like, half mole people or something. But I wonder if that maybe, oh my God, look at Haley Baldwin's dad back there. Y'all see Haley Baldwin's dad? Jesus freak of Hollywood. Oh my God, I didn't even see him. So for that, it's kind of like, I don't know. But then it's like, do we really need it anymore, y'all? Do we really like, how many more gunfight scenes do we need? I'm kind of like fatigued with it. Can we have something else? Like, I mean, these movies do make a lot of money on the other hand, but yeah, and this is true, Carrie. I agreed. And also it is just the facts that a proper there, it is true. There is someone whose job it is on set to take it away from the actor if they're acting negligently, if they can't handle it appropriately or safely. The question then becomes, are these actors given any consequences for not listening to them? I mean, I can imagine it would be kind of scary and hard, even if it was my job, to like walk straight up to him and be like, give me that, stop horse playing. But yeah.
Those people failed in their duties, but Alec Baldwin committed no crime. The most critical issue in this case is how a real bullet got on a movie set. The evidence will show that real bullets are never supposed to be on movie sets. Movie sets use dummies and blanks.
That is the question. How did it get on the movie set? Why did it get on the movie set? Was it on purpose? Was it an accident? Because if it was on purpose, that's a big deal. And this missing evidence, this concealed evidence, the Brady evidence, was directly related to like the batch of the bullets that it came from and something. So it's like, how did it get on the set? Actually, to that question, it seems pretty relevant where the rest of the bullets from the batch are, right? Like to me.
Sets use dummies, fake inert bullets that look like real bullets. They don't go bang.
Wait, no, girl, that,
You can't tell.
That is no way that's a Billy Ball. That has to be Steven. What do you mean? What? You're trying to tell me, are they twins? That's not Haley's dad right there? Please. Are you serious? I don't know. They all kind of do look alike. You know what? They all kind of do look exactly alike, to be honest. They saying it's Stevie B. Stevie B. Stevie B. It's Stevie B. Stop.
Bullets by looking at them, which is why live bullets can be nowhere near a movie set. And if the director wants a shot of the gun going, bang, poof, there's blanks that they can use. And those blanks look nothing like real bullets. And they are used for those shooting scenes. And, they'll play these videos that they described of Alex firearm in the movie going bang poof. And people are conditioned to seeing people firing weapons and thinking that's a dangerous act. That's a dangerous act.
That is true. And we should be conditioned for that, Alex. Where you going? Where you going?
And they will play those videos and give you that image to try to tarnish him in your eyes. But that's not what happened here.
Oh, I see where he's going. Okay, that's fine. He's stealing the thunder. We've talked about that a lot on the channel the last few videos. He's saying they're going to show you some videos of him going bang poof, bang poof. That's part of his job. That doesn't mean that he was doing bang poof in his real time. They're going to show you that to make it seem like he's doing that all the time. So that's fine. Okay.
It was a real bullet, something that should never be on a movie set, something which has nothing to do with making a movie. And you will hear no evidence, not one word, that Alec Baldwin had anything to do with that real bullet being brought onto that set. The second critical issue in this case is, why did a real bullet get loaded into a prop movie gun?
It's not a prop if it worked. Why he's sitting here calling it a prop is, don't say why a prop movie gun, sir. Yes, sure, it's a prop, but it's not. That implies it's fake. If it dislodged and unalived somebody, that wasn't a prop. That was real. Go tell her to wake up from the act then, if it was a prop.
The bullet was loaded into the gun by the armorer, the person on set whose responsibility it was to ensure the gun was safe. And so picture that moment of the armorer placing a live bullet into that firearm. You hear the prosecutor say, he did this or he performed this.
Carrie, tell me what ended up happening with Heather. She put that in there. Was it determined? Was the fact found?
When he picked out the biggest gun as his prop, it's to tarnish him in your eyes. You will hear no evidence whatsoever. No evidence that anything Mr. Baldwin did, that something he did in that moment, that horrible moment when she...
Is it weird to anybody else that this lady also looks like kind of exactly like Haley Baldwin, even though she's not a Baldwin by blood? Things to think about.
That bullet in that gun, none of it had anything to do with Alec Baldwin. And finally, the first assistant director's job, the head of safety, Dave.
Okay, and so what ended up getting put in there? Was it a blank, or it was a real? I mean, listen, when they say blanks, like, it still has a shot, like it could still unalive somebody, but I think for the most part, not everyone. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It might just be they go to the same surgeon. True.
Checks it before it goes to the actor. And he will tell you he made a tragic mistake. He failed to detect a live bullet. And Alec Baldwin had nothing to do with that either. So all this evidence that the prosecutor just outlined, all of it, has nothing to do with these critical issues. Nothing. Which leads us to this. The evidence will show that on a movie set, safety has to occur before the gun is placed in the actor's hands. In this case, this unique case...
Does anybody know the rule? Because someone just said he had the responsibility to check it too, in my opinion. And I mean, like, I understand that to be like a rule, like if you're at a show or something, like the person showing you it will check it, and then you take it out and check it. It's like a double check. Is that not how it works on movies? Tell me in the comments.
The prop gun was placed in Mr. Baldwin's hands, and cold gun was announced, meaning it had been checked and double checked by those responsible to ensure the gun was safe. It was just a prop. They all thought it was just a prop and could do no harm. The actor's job is to act, to rehearse, to choreograph his moves, to memorize his lines. He's Harlan Russ.
Yeah, I'm realizing, like, I don't really know the details here. Like, I have so many questions. Like, I need to know, was the cameras rolling? Were they shooting a scene? Was he off camera? Was it why did he point it at her on purpose? I want to know all that. And now we'll never know because of this Brady crap.
Well, running for his life.
Which, for the record, I'm saying crap because their behavior is crap. I explained earlier, I think that this is a necessary constitutional safeguard to make sure for a fair trial, but it does suck that now, I don't know, maybe we know some of these from that other trial.
The incident in question, he's pulling a 6-shooter to try to defend himself. That's why the gun has to be safe before it gets into the actor's hands. His mind is somewhere else, in the being of another, a century away, an outlaw. He must be able to take that weapon and use it as the person he's acting would. To wave it, to point it, to pull the trigger like actors do. In ways that would be lethal in the real world, but are not lethal on a movie set. And I'm going to show you that scene now before lunch. And if we could just play action.
I don't know what this is going to show, so let me just do a little check here. Okay, they're in some type of church. He's got just brought in by a little boy or maybe a small woman. Here, I can show you this. I also don't want to get like copyright. Okay, so this is what's going on so far. They just came in that front door. Let's see. I'm going to go find some help. I don't need no help. You're going to die. Don't. He's wounded. On the run. Okay, then what? Okay, so then the little boy leaves. Now this is what it looks like. It's like this church again. New scene. I was trying to get through. Okay, here they come in. He's he's brandishing. Let me pause it. Okay. This is what we got now. They're walking toward him. He's sitting there, hurt on the bench, on the pew.
Stand up nice and slow. Dawson,
How long is this?
He's on the church pew, bleeding, his hand gripping the revolver.
Please, is this like literally they filmed it happening and we're watching it in 4K for real? This is too much. This is too much. Sorry, it's too much. Okay, I'm gonna play it, but like I don't know this is really a live reaction. So if y'all don't know what this is, maybe leave. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just turning it down. We'll see. I'm scared. I don't want to. It's a dangerous game. I don't want to watch it. I'm scared. Okay, let me just fast forward. I don't want to watch it. I'm scared it's gonna be like somebody's gonna die or something, and I don't want to watch somebody die. That's like weird. Okay, here, I'll fast forward to this.
Afternoon, so close to the camera that you could see inside, that you could feel it. You could feel that it was loaded, and it was loaded, of course, with dummies. Dummies to make it look like a real gun. But this one time, one of those dummies was a real bullet.
Okay.
The real bullet was not known.
Y'all, my heart was beating fast. It felt like too risky. So people are saying that they had filmed that one scene right there. So okay, fine. So nothing bad happens. Okay, fine. So we can watch it. But I was scared. I'm scared.
So close to the camera that you.
Okay.
Lethal on a movie set. And I'm going to show you that scene now before lunch. And if we could just play action.
I'm gonna go find some help.
I don't need no damn help.
You're gonna die if you don't.
He's wounded on the run.
I don't like their southern accents. They should have consulted with a better dialect coach. I don't like it. Mm-mm.
Play again. Continue.
All the rest. Okay, just stand up nice and slow. Dawson, your weapons you have.
He's on the church pew, bleeding, his hand gripping the revolver. He would defend himself against the men in the movie. Play. One more. You good? Ready?
Arlen Russ. Did you get up nice and slow, tossing the weapons you have?
That was better. Was that the same take? I like the country accent. I like the southern accent better on that second take.
So we only wait to give her a line till he lands, till camera lands. Yep.
This would be so hard. Like, honestly, like, breaking character real quick for a minute. I don't think that this would be an easy job being an actor like this. Like, all this crap going on, and you got to, like, somehow, like, do something that you're, like, I don't know.
Okay, which way? Camera right or left? So camera left for now. I'll stand right here for you. So whip it out. Okay, let me get this all greased. Ready? Okay, ready? Okay, ready? Ready. And set. Arlen Russ.
I didn't like it. It was too loud. I hate it. Now what? Now then what they do?
It's a scene similar to scenes we've all seen in movies and television.
Yeah.
Performed by thousands of actors. And the scene that continues after lunch is the same scene. It's just not unfortunately captured on videotape.
Huh.
And the scene they envisioned and acted out, that
Oh my God, wait. That's me. To her right now, just now, that was me all of law school. Like, somebody would say something, I'd be like, from the front row, but everybody was looking at me. I mean, it's not me because she seems to, like, not understand Brady or something, but
was positioned in the afternoon so close to the camera that you could see inside, that you could feel it. You could feel that it was loaded, and it was loaded, of course, with dummies. Dummies to make it look like a real gun. But this one time, one of those dummies was a real bullet.
why?
The real bullet was not known.
It is a good question. Why was it? Why? How did that get on set? There are so many. I'm wondering.
To anyone in that church, amongst the actors, directors, and crew in the scene, everyone was doing exactly how they go about their business every day on a movie, not as if some lethal element had been included in the environment. You will see creativity and movement and everyone talking and vibrant. No one had any idea that this venomous, toxic element had been inserted into this magic they were creating. But it did. It entered that place. It killed an amazing person. It wounded another, and it changed lives forever. And so to find out what happened on that movie set, you need to do something that the prosecutors could never do. You have to step back and remember what they were doing on a movie set. What were Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer, Joel Souza, the director, and Alec Baldwin, the actor, doing on Bonanza Creek Ranch? You know, movies and magic have always been closely associated. The first people that made movies were magicians. And this imagination that happens in movies, you know, King Kong, he can stand above a city, and Superman can fly, horses and snakes and gun battles. For this to all work, for cinematography, what Helena did to work, for acting to work, you have to be so close to the barrier of real and imagined that the viewer feels that they're there, that it's real. The viewer can't see strings from the stuntman. The stuntman must leap. The snake must hiss. And guns happen in movies all over this country for many decades. Bang, bang. You've all seen it. Guns have been an element of theater and film and television since the earliest of times. Depictions of war and combat, Spartacus.
The thespians, the clowns, and the jesters do love a good ammunition device.
It stirs audiences because it feels real. Later films, Platoon, Apocalypse Now, they showed the unvarnished realities of war. This ranch, Santa Fe, it had been the scene to many gunfights and movie scenes, well before Alec was even born. Laramie, Butch and the Sundance Kid, and these weapons.
This is where it comes down to for me. It feels like somebody knew that there was that in there. So now they're going up to the judge.
That guns are in movies because movies are about people's lives and guns are in people's lives. So let's talk about the evidence and how the lethal bullet got there. How did this happen and how did it unfold?
Yeah,
The
tell
evidence
me.
is the following. Everybody on a movie set has a role. The armorer armors, the director directs, the actor acts. They work in harmony, but they have a division of responsibility. Safety being important has the first assistant director, whose name is Dave Halls, above the armorer and is sort of the safety of the set. And on that day in question, the cast and the creative directors and crew in the church, it's a fake church. Their actors are not in their normal clothes, it's costumes. There's debris falling from the ceiling, it's fake debris. And they yell out cold gun. And that is an important term you're going to learn in this case. It means that the gun is cold. No one need worry. But even that requires a little bit more explanation. Cold gun doesn't mean no live bullets. There are for sure 100% no live bullets on movie sets. That's unimaginable. Cold means you don't even have the fake blank poof.
Wait a second. He just said there are for sure 100% no bullets on movie sets. He just said that, but didn't y'all just tell me that it was like an actual real one? Or was this woman unalive by a fake blank poof?
Earplugs for that fake bang. It means it's empty, inert, cosmetic, can do no harm. Cold guns can't hurt people. It's impossible, literally impossible for a cold gun to hurt somebody. You could hurt you more by dropping it on your foot. And that's why these artists are carrying on in their art. Cold gun, all clear to go. And the armorer on this set hands a prop gun to Alec, like she had done times before.
Oh, look at him sitting back there. He's reliving it.
And he's there. He's in the movie set church with his.
I'm sorry, it like he could really be, but it's just hard for me with actors, especially really good ones, because like we've seen them act, and it's like, oh, but this time it's real. It's hard to know.
Gear and his holster, and he takes his movie set gun, and he's deeply focused in that moment on his character. The artists, the crew members, they're moving around him. Again, no eye gear or earplugs, nothing to protect against. They carry on. They practice, they rehearse, they take a lunch break. Some folks leave, some don't. They continue the scene. Dave Halls, the head of safety, is actually practicing the movement so they can frame the footage that will happen after lunch. And the prop cold gun comes back. Cold gun. They call it again. Same gun, again, safe. The first assistant director, Dave Halls, head of safety for the entire film, a man with decades of experience, comes and takes the additional step and inspects the gun. Verifies again. Cold gun. Everyone relax. Go back to focus on the making of a movie. There's nothing in the gun that can hurt anybody. And Alex sits on that pew. And the creative directors, the crew, they're moving around him, in front of him. And Harlan Rust, he begins, like the prosecutor told you, rehearsing, acting. This is a completely mundane, uneventful, routine act on a movie set. And so everybody carries on. Nobody fathomed, imagined, foresaw any possible danger. They moved around Alec as he practiced his draw. As the prosecutor put it, working out the details of the move in the after. He does it again, does it in a different way. Nobody bats an eye. And they will tell you that the investigation revealed that Baldwin was practicing drawing and pointing the weapon of the scene with guidance and instruction from Helena Hutchins and Joel Souza. The gun goes off. Everybody's shocked. Alec is startled. He immediately says, I didn't mean to shoot I didn't pull the trigger. Immediately. What the hell just happened? They collectively explain. Shock turns to panic.
I didn't pull the trigger immediately, he said. How did it come out?
911 is called.
I hear y'all saying like it's not someone's job to check a gun and stuff, but like I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up around them. Like I grew up around a lot of them, and yes, it goddamn is. Like from the time you're 2 years old, like it's reckless. It's yes, if it has the ability to fire something out of it, you do check it. It don't matter if you're 5 years old, 2 years old, 1 years old. Like it's one of the earliest things I feel like I ever learned in my life. Is like you got to check it, or you get somebody to check it. Maybe you don't want to touch it, you get somebody to check it. It kind of is his job. It kind of is, even if it's not, SAG enforced. It to me, it's like literally life or death. So I kind of get the feeling that this guy, this Spiro guy, is trying to argue that it's not Alec's job to have checked it, and maybe it's not like technically and all of that. Maybe for a legal liability, maybe this is how I grew up. If you holding it, yeah, it's your responsibility. Where you point it, where you don't, and all that. You're not even supposed to stand there with the finger on the, like at all for any reason, unless you don't put your finger on it, unless you're trying to hit a target and it's, you doing it right now, like kind of thing. And so maybe for like legal liability, yes, there's rules and there's things, but as far as for just what I think, it just, I would need to see it too. Like somebody just some 25-year-old saying they called gun. No, I need to see it. Let me look, and somebody said it in here. They got to show you. So, right. But that being said, I think it is more of a theory of there's blame to go around, and we're not going to really know now on this Alec Baldwin case aspect of how much of the blame, if any, he should have been responsible for. I'm not saying he is responsible or should be in a legal case. That's why I keep distinguishing it. Yeah, this is kind of, it wasn't supposed to, but like I've been in other situations, like shows, for example, where even if it's not supposed to, like every time someone picks up to handle, they open, they look, they show you. And I've seen people, and then also open and look. Like maybe they're not allowed to. Maybe that's what somebody was saying. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to do today. I will be back soon, and make sure you check out my little 10-minute one that I did earlier about the other prosecutor who had quit. Johnson, kind of doing her little fact check on the record over there. That's all I really had for today. Yeah, let me know what else I missed. Like I said, I wasn't really like up to speed on it. I just wanted to have a little hangout. Facts and information. Love you, okay, bye.